Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Monday, March 19th, 2018. This is the Kubernetes 1.10 release team burndown meeting. We are burning down the release. So if you've got your fire extinguisher handy, let's get this thing put out by next Monday and released. So today we're going to run through a few things, but to respect time of those people calling in at ridiculous hours in China, we're going to move through the risk assessment real quick. And we're going to start with pull request 61313, and that is Klaus Ma is help driving that. So Jordan, if you're here, do you mind sort of leading the discussion?
Sure. So as part of the updates required to get the alpha CI test green, one of the alpha features is using the scheduler to schedule Damon Set pods. And we are discovering some implications of that, which is good to discover in alpha state. And so in effort to turn the alpha CI job green, several scheduling changes have come in. And that is what these pull requests are about. So to be clear, these are fixes to turn the alpha CI job green, and we're trying to find the least disruptive way to do that. One change is to make a particular component tolerate network unready conditions. Another change is to automatically add tolerations for that condition in an admission plugin. And between the two, adding a particular toleration to a particular component is much easier to understand the implications of. And so I think that is the pull request 61311. If we require this test to be green for release, that pull request seems like the least risky way to accomplish that for this issue.
And when you say that, you mean 61313?
No, 61311.
Okay. Great. So I'll put that next to that. I do worry that we're making a lot of changes to make a test go green. Just that's my general observation. I mean, I understand the need for it, but it's also makes me a little nervous.
I think it's worth having the discussion about whether requiring the alpha CI job to be green and requiring changes that affect code that is outside the alpha gate in order to accomplish that is best serving our purposes of a stable release. Do we want to have that discussion now? I mean, Klaus is here. It would be good to. I mean, Klaus, if I understand correctly, if all of the current changes in flight for the scheduling Damon Set component are around the alpha CI job, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. My 2 cents. This is Dim's. Is that the YAML? Since if we were going to go with 61313, that's a code change. If it just going with 61311, it is just one YAML that's changing to make the thing go green. So definitely that would be more preferable than 61313. And it's not going to affect that much. People can edit their YAML file if they want to change the way things work.
Yeah, adding a toleration is about the safest thing you can do. All that does is, especially on a Damon Set where you're not going to change the number of things scheduled, a Damon Set is going to try to run on every node, and adding this toleration will just improve the chances that it runs on every node. If you don't have these alpha features turned on, it won't affect anything at all, actually. So 61311, I would characterize as extremely low risk. I know this is sort of the latest in several scheduling related changes. And so it would be good to know that we are getting to the end of this type of change. Klaus, are there any other CI issues that you are tracking that you know of related to this?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, given the situation that we're in, I don't know that we can justify 61313. I'm really leaning toward the YAML change for 61311. But that, I mean, that in a way, this kind of kicks the can down the road. And I think that maybe as part of the retro, we talk about this because this is something that is going to continue to be a problem moving forward.
And so actually the signal that this test gave us was that switching to the scheduler and working via taints and tolerations in this way is not strictly backwards compatible because we see this requirement to either change the manifest of a component that used to work or start adding tolerations in an optional admission plugin. And so this is good signal to get. It's something that will have to be considered and documented or worked around before these features can migrate out of alpha. So I'm glad we are finding out that these changes are required, but I don't want us to forget that we had to adjust things to get our CI green. And Klaus had action items to update documentation and update the relevant features so that we consider that before they graduate alpha.
Okay. Okay, so just so we can summarize to make sure that I understand the full scope of work that needs to be done here. So we get 61311 merged. What are the other steps we need to take to make sure that we're doing due diligence around this, especially in terms of moving forward?
For 110, I believe that is the extent.
Okay.
For 111, when I think these features were wanting to graduate to beta, there are more considerations that need to be written down out of this because it could have customer impact on the way Damon Sets work. If they want to run those, if they're using host network and they want to run on nodes that aren't saying their network is ready. So,
right.
But for 110, if I understand Klaus correctly, this is 61311 is the extent.
Yep.
Okay. So is there anybody arguing for 61313? I mean, Klaus, obviously you put a lot of work into this. I mean, I want to understand what if there's anything that you disagree with in terms of this discussion.
Yes. I think the change to the YAML file is safe. Will be low risk to 1.10. So I think for this release, I also prefer the 61311. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can we move 61313 into the next milestone?
Yes.
Jennifer, I agree that it's
that's down the road. I just wanted to note that we don't need to pay attention right now. I just wanted it someplace, and I didn't want to keep having the actual verbal conversation about it.
Yep. I think what it might end up looking like is there will be multiple features that are recommended to enable together, which will complement each other.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was hearing too.
Yeah.
But we can take that one up later. I just wanted to say for 110, I mean, the relevant piece for right now is 61311, because it looks really straightforward to doc, really seems like just fine on this side too, right? Doc being a full indicator at this point in a release.
And actually, I wouldn't even necessarily document it because that is working around something in an alpha feature. So we are doing that to get green alpha tests. Yeah. That's not something we expect people to use in production.
Understood. Thanks. And the only reason I flagged that was that Klaus had offered to update the doc. Klaus and I can do this asynchronously, sort of determine the final state of that doc pull request and get it merged. But we don't need that. We have, we have a 24-hour turnaround and more for that one. So don't need to wrangle that one immediately.
Okay, so let's just, while we got Klaus, while we're looking at this thing right now, what is it we need to do to this to get it over the line? Because it'd be nice to get this done today if possible. It's missing an LGTM, needs milestone approval from SIG scheduling. SIG scheduling's been a little tricky to work with, and also has a hold. Who put the hold on there?
Oh, I think the hold is mean I opened the other one 611313. Yeah, so someone marked the hold.
Okay. All right, so it looks like you've done what you need to do here. It looks like there's maybe missing an alpha GCI test run on this. So I can see, Sen, if you're here, if maybe you can take a look at that and see if that's possible to do.
Currently not.
Okay.
I think we can run it locally. And I mean, we can. The other CIs are all green, so I'm less concerned about it. Anything is like better than a busted job. Currently, the job is not running. So,
does anybody here? I mean, this is a little bit sketch because I don't know what to do as far as SIG scheduling goes. Klaus, do you have somebody you've been working with in SIG scheduling that I can ping to have them do the final approvals on this?
Oh, I think we need to ping Bobby for this part. For this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. We'll get that over the line hopefully today before we end code freeze, and then we have to go through creating cherry picks for these things, which is a different animal. Right. Klaus, thank you so much. Anything? Does anybody need to hit anything with Klaus before we release him to his sleep?
Thanks a lot, Klaus.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you for much. Okay. Bye.
Great. Bye.
bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So that is good news. So moving down, it looks like this, what was this? 61324 PVC protection controller, PVC protection controller. Anybody have any updates on this?
We were discussing this in the poll. It's unclear that this is actually required for 110, given that these controllers default on. Someone would have to explicitly disable them to hit the condition that this is trying to fix. I think this is not release blocking and can, if we determine something needs to be done with it, it could be done in a point release.
Okay.
So is the test fix already in there?
No, the pull request. So this is against master and thinking about like interactions between 110 and 111. So by default, the interactions between 110 and 111 will be fine, which is why I don't think this particular one is release blocking. There are two polls open against 1.9. One is the test fix that I had, and one is a series of code changes that make parts of the controllers always run in 1.9. And there's discussion about which we prefer for 1.9. Both of those are in service of getting our downgrade test green. So I had my test change open and tagged the SIG storage leads for their input, and I guess we could get their input on the controller backport as well. I would defer to the SIG storage leads which they want to do. Unfortunately, we don't have a good way to run the downgrade tests against the pull request, and the method I use for running EDEs, I don't actually have it set up to be able to install during the test, so I can't run the downgrade test locally. Let me pull the 2 pull requests that are under consideration.
And the 61324 is not approved for milestone anyway, so I mean, it already feels like an uphill battle on this, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull it out of the milestone and put it in 111. Unless somebody disagrees.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer on handling PVC protection, so we've got 2 things. One is somebody, presumably me, needs to pester SIG storage and get their input on it, on the choice between the 2 different PRs. And second, we need to test both PRs somehow and their effect on the downgrade test, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have anybody here who could comment on how we can actually test that absent merging the PRs?
You can. It is possible to run the downgrade tests locally. Sen would have, or Krause would have more expertise in doing that. I think you need to start your test clusters in a certain way for that to be doable locally.
Okay, I've never run the test clusters locally, the downgrade test locally. So
same here.
So I can't instruct somebody on how to do that.
I think I know, but I never run it locally as well. I think Chen from Stick Storage has run it on Friday. I mean, someone ran it Friday, and Krause gives them instructions. If someone want to run it, maybe just ping me or Krause and we can figure this out.
Whoever's doing the typing here and adding those 2 pull requests, thank you.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, so we need to ping. Okay, Josh, are you pinging Krause on that? Josh, did we lose you?
Sorry, I'm on mute. Yes.
Oh. Okay, cool. All right, so moving along, there was this thing came up about Cloud Controller Manager and also just general cloud integration or cloud provider integration problem. We had a yes/no sort of discussion around keeping this or as blocking for 110. I'm feeling like I wanted to get it attention soon because I feel like this actually might be worse than it looks. But it doesn't seem like the consensus is it should be blocking, but I'm going to try and get worked on it as soon as possible because this is a relatively bad bug from the cloud provider perspective. So we'll look at that. And I have Khaled Henedek working on this from the Azure side. So I might...
on the OpenStack side, Jesse Haka is looking at it.
Okay.
And the point here is 19x is broken too, and it's broken both for Azure and OpenStack. So when we have a fix, we'll apply to both and we'll at a patch release, but we don't need to stop 110 for this is my feeling.
Okay, and then we just need to document it
right
under known issues. I feel bad that we're kicking the can down the road on that, but I mean, yes, there's a limited amount of time for us to get stuff done. So if a pull request comes in the next 24 hours, I'll have you look at it, Dims. But otherwise, let's assume it's 1.10.1.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Right. There's this one, 61302. What was that?
Yeah. So this is just bumping the GOBC image and GOBC.manifest to a GA version. Right now it's an alpha version. And so that's basically the gist of it. We just need the appropriate milestone labels to get this in.
Okay. Do we have a feeling about what this is, the GA version is fixing, and sort of risk assessment around what that bump does? Or, I mean...
Yeah, so the only difference between the current alpha version specified and this version is addition of rate limiting. And in general, it's not too risky, but if there was any potential risk, the rate limiting can be removed because it's only invoked. That whole code path is only invoked via command line flags, or sorry, the flags in the manifest.
Okay.
So that's the only difference between the two versions right now.
All right. And in terms of visibility at Google, do you have you got buy-in on your side? Because this looks like, this is going to impact.
I sent an email to the Burndown groups because I guess this is kind of following the whole exception process. And Tim Hawken approved of it on the thread. So.
Okay. For some reason, I did not see any of that communication, which is weird because I should have. So
I can copy you directly on that thread. Maybe that would be
could you? That'd be great. It's jdumars, jdumars@gmail.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
That's super helpful. Yeah. So I'm going to open the floor to any objections, because this isn't. I'll probably make the call, but I want to know if anybody has any objections to bumping this.
I don't. I actually saw the email thread and I didn't express an opinion on it because I don't have any knowledge of how it would affect things.
Okay. Yeah, for me, just as a general rule, if we can get off of the alpha image, I'm way happier to get off the alpha, just from a stability standpoint. But the introduction of the rate limiting stuff felt like a relatively significant change with possible unknown impacts. So I just wanted to fully understand any risks associated with that. But if you've vetted those and those seem like you've got buy-in and Tim's okay with it, then I have no qualms on that myself.
Okay, great. And you said it was jdumars@gmail, right?
Yep. I don't know why I didn't see that. That's really weird. There's probably some filter gone awry on my email, because about right now is when things go super bonkers with notification.
All right, I forwarded it to you just now.
Okay. So this should go under SIG GCP, which you are acting as a ostensible actor for at this point.
Yep.
And approved for milestone. And we'll add it to 1.10.
Great.
All right. And approved per not being able to type, per release meeting, and 319, 2018, and I'm going to CC T. Hawken.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Cool. All right, done.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. All right, moving along. And I'll have to talk to Caleb too if he's around, because this actually needs to.
Yeah, I'll ping Caleb also, because he's the one who told me to come to the meeting and put it in.
That's great. Yeah, because we're going to hopefully have these in a markdown file somewhere in GitHub, so we know what exceptions we approved.
Okay.
So, all right, moving along. So today is the end of code freeze. In theory, I would like to have the fine test infra folks, Ben and Cole, if you want to weigh in on that. Thoughts? And if anybody else, Sen, you want to weigh in on that?
We're ready to
I can take the floor.
Cole is actually out of office this week, so
Okay.
I will fill in for that.
And then Sen, did you want to take the floor? Is that the word?
Yeah, I mean, either me or Ben can run the command, just redeploy the Munger. Cole already left the instructions.
Okay. So then we just need to unhold that PR that has got the relatively entertaining review. And then you'll restart the Munger and we're good to go there. So then I guess the question is do we feel confident enough in where the release is at to actually lift code freeze? I would like to have anybody who is against it speak up.
So my main question is the test jobs that are currently 1.9 to master. As soon as we reopen master, the signal on those goes way down. So are there equivalent 1.9 to 1.10 like upgrade downgrade jobs that would give us the signal that we're trying to turn green currently?
Yes, if you look at release 110R, there's all kind of upgrade downgrade tests there as well.
And are those giving us the same signal as 1.9 master?
Yes, they are. They should be the same job, except runs against 110 rather than master.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a good question. Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? What about cherry picks? Because obviously now, once we open the master back up, we're going to be in the business of cherry picks for things. That means that any open PRs are going to, we're going to have to get those either, I don't know what the hell we do with those actually.
When are we going to do the last fast forward? Just like right before lift code freeze?
Yeah, I think that's the way we've always done it. So there's three. Oh, interesting. I didn't really realize this update, Kubernetes defaults to use 110 is actually. Crap. I guess.
Yeah, that's the one just before RC1. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll go in, but this is against master though. Does that matter?
It doesn't matter. You can merge it against master and then pick it. It's all about what tags it has available to pull.
Okay.
It seems like the quantity and size of changes, pull requests that we're seeing come in are getting fewer and smaller. So just looking at the three that are open, all three are like single digit line pull requests against smaller and smaller bits of code.
Right. These seem totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. And popping them into master is not going to mess anything up, obviously. So, okay. Well then, so we just need to just make sure that these have cherry pick candidate on them and all that. So this is one thing, in terms of doing the cherry picks and whatnot, is that going to be the branch manager, or is that going to be the patch release manager in this release? Caleb, are you around? It's typically been the branch manager, but I want to make sure that.
I think it's branch manager for 110.0 and the patch release manager for the following release.
Right. Yeah, that's as I understand it too. I just want to make sure Caleb's on board, but I don't think Caleb's on, so. Okay. All right. Well, then I don't hear any compelling reason to not lift code freeze today at whenever it works for you all, like 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific.
And so what's the order of fast forwarding and then lifting?
Yeah, to do the final fast forward, make sure that's in good shape. I believe we do the RC1 before we lift code freeze, I believe. So that can happen, in the afternoon. I'll just check with Caleb on timing on that.
If we're going to fast forward, then do RC1, would it make sense to merge the cube atom default and then fast forward? I don't know.
There's some reason why it has to be the last minute though, and I can't remember there's something weird to do with the timing on that.
Yeah, I think some of the jobs start failing if you don't do it that way. That's what I remember from talking to Lucas a while ago.
Yeah, the timing on it's super squirrely. I remember that. I'll find out. I'll find out if we need to do that or not. Merge it or
right. I mean, this can be slammed in. It doesn't need to be bot merged.
Right. Okay. All right. So sounds like we're good to go on lifting code freeze. I'll handle all the communications and whatnot to Kubernetes dev and let people know that we're proceeding at pace. And actually, it's feeling like we're getting in a reasonable shape for the release overall. So
we didn't talk about the
scalability.
Yeah.
The scalability, right? Where the heck is that in this whole thing here?
Yeah, you had it in there. One more. Yeah, right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. Yeah. So you obviously, Dems, you found another commit that was suspect, but it sounded like that maybe wound up not being the case.
Yeah, it wasn't. It probably wasn't the case. But then Andrzej is still bisecting, and we had a big set of things to bisect. So he's been diligently working through that. And we still haven't found anything yet specifically that needs to be worked on.
Okay.
So how much time do we have for this bisection is the question, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is getting scary a little bit, just because you guys have spent so much time on it already, and it shouldn't be this hard, I don't think. I mean, it seems like a relatively major performance regression, so.
I mean, we found one, and that was already reverted. And so now we are trying to find another one,
right?
Which is where the problem is. So one question I had for Sen here is, Sen, can you tell us if there's any other jobs where the spot startup is likely to, show? So I can go look there to see when it actually started, other than the bisection, of course. I looked at some of the jobs that are there in the perf.kates.io, but I wasn't too sure whether I was picking the right benchmark graph.
I'm not sure if the really so in one thing is in master blocking there are like three scalability jobs. Like I think it's 100 like 2K nodes and one for performance and one for correctness. You might be able to look from there. And for each release, there's also like capability suites.
Okay, maybe you can show me offline which ones to look at.
Sure.
Okay. Other than that, really thanks to Andrzej for working through the weekend.
Yeah, there was one of these that was closed, and I don't really understand why it was closed. From the description.
Wait, so are you sharing those, Josh, or?
No, I can't share screen still under Zoom. The 61189. So the fluent D flaky timeouts for RC tests. It was closed, and I just don't understand from the description why it was closed.
Oh, anybody know? What was that number again?
61189. So this is flaky timeouts while waiting for RC pods to be running in density tests.
There was a second fix merged
Okay.
related to that as well that just merged today, I think.
Okay. Oh, okay. That
the test utility that Sham and Wojtek worked on this morning, and it went in really quickly.
okay. Okay. That was the one that I wanted to check on. For some reason, I was not seeing the attached merge. So
It didn't reference the FluentD issue. So it's a little unclear to me the heritage of the issue. If it was a flake and there were potentially multiple causes for the flake, one of which was the FluentD scaler and the other of which was this weight test code, it's unclear to me. It would be good to get Shyam to verify that this is resolved. So the related issue that he references at the end, 61189, did close with the fix a couple hours ago.
So I'm putting a note in this 61189 asking Shyam to do a verification on it. That seem reasonable?
Yeah, and close 61190 if that is resolved as well. I think those were two symptoms. They were both referencing the same flake, and that flake may have had multiple causes.
Okay.
okay.
Let's see, that was there. Yeah, because this one's still open.
It got closed automatically by the FluentD fix, but then got reopened because we wanted to verify that the fix actually was effective.
Okay. What is the best way to actually verify that?
See the flake not occur. Prove a negative.
Yeah, I always love that.
Or more specifically to the point, to have several, pick a number, 3 successful runs without a flake.
Well, the test already actually improved significantly after the FluentD fix went in. It was going red maybe 50% of the time, and it went down to like 1 out of 7 or 8. And so we saw noticeable improvement after the FluentD fix, and the test code fix this morning, I expect to take care of it permanently. So.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just keep an eye on this. Still release blocking at the moment, but
Shyam was going to look at it as well. So if he is verified the remaining flake wasn't caused by that, I'll let him close it out.
Okay, fantastic.
Yep.
All right, so right now, just as we stand, it looks like the scale regression is the big one right now. Is that pretty much it? 60589 is our current and only blocker?
That's the only unknown one that I'm aware of.
Okay. Man. Boo. All right. So obviously Monday is slated for 110. So we've got more or less 4 working days to get this sorted out. Because there's a relatively high testing threshold on this because of scales testing. I'd love to get this sorted out by Thursday to get a go, no go. Does that seem reasonable?
When are we wanting to cut RC1? Are we discussing cutting RC1 today?
RC1, Caleb's here now, but yeah, I'd like to do the fast forward and RC1 today and then open the merge queue back up. That seem reasonable, Caleb?
Yeah, I can do that. I can cut the RC, fast forward, cut the RC, and then file the PR to do lift code freeze.
Okay. The PR is already actually out there. We just need
great.
to unblock it and then restart the muncher.
Sweet. So I'll forward and then I'll cut the release candidate then.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh, there are the 3 PRs that are yet to merge, right?
Yeah, let's see what so there's 3. And actually, Caleb, we were talking about this, I don't know if you heard, but just making sure with Kubedium folks that the bump for 110, is that something we need to do before we cut RC, or do we do it before we actually cut the release itself on Monday?
It did say RC1.
Did it? Oh.
Yeah. The PR said RC1.
Oh, well, crap. Then,
Yeah, I thought the question was about doing
Rev 4
merge and then fast forward, or yeah.
Okay, right. So no problem. So before you get the thing going, the RC, let's merge this.
Okay.
And this looks ready to go.
So that's just the only PR that is manually need to be merged.
Correct.
Cool.
The other two, this one should be merged by then, hopefully.
And we need a LGTM on the other host network.
Correct.
So we are waiting on Bobby for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait until those two merge. Fast forward, merge the kubeADM, and then cut the RC.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So if you got a lock on that, Caleb, that is super helpful.
Yep. Should be fine.
Great. Okay. So, all right. Today we'll get all that sorted out. We don't really need to go through metrics. I think we pretty much did all this. Is there anything that you want to add, Josh, in terms of where we're at? I mean, you're writing some stuff in the channel. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about those.
Oh, yeah, I just pinged the other members of storage about the PVC fix.
Okay.
And one of their questions was, is it acceptable for a downgrade fix to go into 1.9 latest? And I didn't know the answer to that because as far as I know, our perspective on downgrading is the main reason for somebody to downgrade is they upgrade to 1.10, stuff starts failing and they want to downgrade.
Right.
But if that's the case, they're not necessarily going to be downgrading to the latest release of 1.9.
I don't necessarily think that's a valid assumption.
Okay.
I think that getting those fixes back in 1.9 latest is actually reasonable. But please, someone disagree with me.
I mean, either way, you're documenting. It's a documentation thing. You say, here's the difference between 1.9 and 1.10. Either we do nothing in 1.9 because we can't change code that's already shipped, and you do stuff manually, or if you want to downgrade to 1.9, downgrade to 1.9 latest, and this will work automatically for you.
Right.
So, well, the decision is between the test fix and the actual.
For today, so I think either way we will pursue fixing in a 1.9 point release these controllers. It might just be post 1.10.
Yeah, and that seems likely, and so that kind of suggests that we need to have at least temporarily a test fix so that we can verify that our manual fix recommendation works in testing.
And that was the point of the test PR I opened. That's what that is. So timing-wise, the controller pulls for 1.9 aren't ready and still need review. And those are actually not pure backports. They are changes, and the changes seem okay, but need review. So I just don't know what the timing on that is going to be.
So it could be that 1.10.1 is shipped and that stuff goes into 1.9 whatever at that point. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, and I also wanted to ask, is Sen on the call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Is everything else green except for the tests associated with these outstanding problems?
Yeah, looks like so. The only thing is consistent fitting is the alpha feature sweep.
Okay. Yeah, which we know about.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking that everything is still green.
Yeah.
Because we've had reversions on fixes before in 1.10. So.
Yeah, I may kick myself for saying this, but I believe with the exception of the scalability testing, we know everything that's in the release is stable. And the downgrade path is documented enough that it's actually can be released, and people, if they need to deal with that problem with the storage not allowing the name space cleanup or whatever it is, that stuff is already taken care of via manual steps. So I think we're down to the one thing.
Yeah, so the decision before us for the PRs that are open are, do we merge none of them and go with a documentation fix and manual inspection of our downgrade tests, which we've done, and we verified that the rest of the tests are passing? Or do we merge the downgrade test change so that we get actual automated green downgrade tests? Or do we merge the code change that we're looking to do in 1.9? And I think the timing on that is not ready yet. So I think our choices are really, for today, like, do we do nothing and manually inspect downgrade test results? Or do we merge the test change?
I am less worried about the downgrade suite now, because after talking with Crossy, we figured out the downgrade itself was successful, and the cluster was downgraded back to 1.9, and it was running all the following tests on green. It's just it cannot delete that PVC. So yeah, I'm less worried about it. I was like, before I was thinking that it was like not running the test, but I mean, as of today, it seems it's giving us the downgrade signals. Like after the downgrade, I'm like less worried about that.
I agree. And the test change that I had would be reverted with the actual 1.9 controller changes that we're looking to do in the next point release, or in a point release or so. So I don't feel strongly about my test change going in, since we were able to verify all the downgrade tests actually ran, and it was purely a cleanup issue on the PVCs.
Okay. Oh, so it's no longer, so that test broken is no longer blocking the other tests from running.
Correct. It wasn't. We thought it was, but Crossy showed us what was actually going on, which was good.
Okay.
Oh, that's really good.
So then that basically makes this problem not a 110 blocker. We just need the docs for 110, which I think we have.
Yeah.
We do, but I want to speak to that in a minute.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So what I'm hearing is, if we had to pull the go no go lever right now, I would be leaning toward a go, even with the scalability issues as it stands. I mean, I want to have those fixed, but right now it sounds like the release is in relatively good shape. So that's good. And in terms of your fixes, whatever you think is most appropriate, Jordan, let's move forward with that. If it's just manual and documented right now, that's fine with me. I don't think that's an unreasonable burden for the user community.
Yeah, I would probably characterize the current state as a known issue that we intend to resolve in a future 1.9 point release.
Right.
And say, if you have a lot of PVs and PVCs and you care about being able to downgrade without intervention, you should wait for this to be resolved and have an issue to point them at.
Right.
Knowing that we understand how to resolve it in the 1.9 stream, and we plan to, like, that work is in progress. It just won't be ready by Monday, I wouldn't expect.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So real quick, Ben, do you have any test info updates? Anything that we need to know there?
Nothing in particular. I think everything's fine.
So actually, I think I will close my 1.9 test fix PR and write that explanation, since we would just need to revert it almost immediately anyway.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, let's talk documentation. Jennifer.
So I added to the notes, as you can see, and the PR that I'm still mildly concerned about is not there. It's the one for the 1.9 downgrade issue. And the only reason I'm a little concerned is there still seems to be a little bit of churn, a bit of back and forth in tech review. And what I want to do at this point, I haven't had a chance to look carefully this morning. So between now and tomorrow morning's meeting, I want to put my version of the doc together and see if I could just stick it in front of people and say, look, have we got all of these bits that you've been adding to the doc or taking out of it clearly in place? Because we're depending on this. I realize, it's a bit of an edge case, but we need to get it right. And I'm not satisfied with the discussion in the PR right now. So this is one of the reasons why I'm happy to hear the decision to go with not updating the 1.9 tests. I mean, it's not a huge big deal, but if indeed a workaround that has to get documented is a piece of the fix, automating the tests to sort of circumvent that, even in an edge case, doesn't seem to me like quite the right thing to do. Anyway, the pull request is in there. We could, gun to my head, we could merge it. It would be okay. We got a little bit of time this week to get it a little bit cleaner. So I'm trying to give it a bit more love.
Okay. How's everything else looking?
It's looking pretty good. I am in Seattle this week, and I'm meeting with Steve Perry this afternoon. And one of the things I want to do is go over the automated doc generation. So that should, ease. I took a few stabs at it last week, so I waited because I knew I was going to have this meeting. I think that we are in good shape overall.
Okay.
I'm just letting y'all know where my little bits of remaining concern live. And also with the Damon Set scheduler thing, there's still we heard this at the beginning of the meeting. There's still a little bit of churn around there involving documentation.
Okay. If you need me to intervene someplace, point me in the right direction, and I can help facilitate those conversations if you're not getting attention you need.
So I thought we were talking about churn around the PVC finalizer removal. You're more concerned around churn around Damon Set scheduler?
It was churn around documentation of the finalizer removal.
Okay.
So I think I was the tech review person causing churn. So I will revisit that today and try to drive that to a close.
Okay, but then Damon Set scheduler. So you'd like me to pester whatchamacallit? Well, that would be Klaus, etc. for final version of the docs.
But possibly, because those are still alpha level, it's not clear that that's something that someone doing a production upgrade even needs to care about in 1.10.
Right.
I think those are more notes for ourselves for the 1.11 timeframe for how we go about transitioning this out of alpha.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Honestly, in the projects I've been around, the level of care we give to alpha documentation and socialization is much higher than most. So so I think that's good that we're doing that. But yeah, I think Jordan, if you can help get that over the line, that would be great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Jennifer, anything else you want to add? All right. Let's move to marketing. Okay, so I can start this conversation off with we need to get the blog in much better shape than it is right now. With the level of changes in terms of things not shipping this time, the blog feels a little bit like some sort of balloon animal that has had part of the air sucked out of it. Now it doesn't look like a giraffe anymore. It sort of looks like a droopy giraffe. So we need to fix that. Natasha, do you want to take the floor on that?
Yeah, definitely. So Saad Ali from the Storage SIG went in last week, and he updated his section for what's going on with storage and what are the features and things like that. So that section does not look deflated. But networking and security and, all those other sections are very, very bare. And the upfront intro paragraph really can't be revised until the other sections are filled in a little bit. because this is really introducing the release to everyone. And same with the title, that'll need to be revised. So this is hopefully a very high priority for everyone on top of, I know everyone's doing a lot of testing and a lot of work, but this is how we're going to present this to the world. And so it just needs some TLC, please. And then we should be back on track.
Yeah. So
and
this is.
I would like to add on deadline for this. So if we could get something in today or tomorrow, then I would still have time before the release to go to media Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with this and do a few interviews. Worst case scenario is we get the blog in a really good shape on Thursday, and we only have time to conduct maybe like 1 or 2 interviews on Thursday, Friday, and a lot of the press write directly from this blog as their source of for their stories.
Yeah.
Because they're going to write anyway, so we want them to write based off of what we've provided.
All right. So what I would love to do is have some people in this call, if you are please able to do so. Can you volunteer to look this over?
And I did connect with Eeyore earlier. He might not be on the call or he's muted, but he did say he was going to give this a priority look today as well.
Yeah, I'll do it. Can anybody else want to look this over?
I'm currently reviewing it. At the same time, we need some people from the SIGs who have actually developed these features to confirm the value from these exact features. Because my personal opinion from the features perspective can be different from the technical perspective. Yeah.
What SIGs do we specifically need in your opinion?
So we had a good job done by SIG Storage. Currently, Eric Thune and Eric Chen from SIG-Off are reviewing in the security section. I'd like to also ask some volunteers from the networking SIG to take a look at their part. SIG-Node is also likely.
Okay. Who else?
Maybe SIG API Machinery, because we have one alpha feature that's related to CRD, and I also would like to understand if it's extremely valuable, specifically in the current status.
Okay.
And if we should mention it or not.
Okay.
But again, the most important for me personally, who'd like to see reviewing the blog, are people from SIG Networking and SIG-Node.
Okay. All right. We'll see what I can do. All right. And if anybody else on this call can look at that, that would be super helpful. I mean, the more eyes on this, the better. And this gets a lot of traction. So for better, for worse, any eyes on this are going to make us look better in the media, which is always nice. So yeah, take a look.
Yeah, and just for reference, our last release, which granted that was around KubeCon, so it got a lot more pickup, but the release was mentioned in over 190 articles within a 2-month period. And so this one will probably end up in over 100 articles across the globe, China, Japan, everywhere. So that is probably why I've been harping on everyone for this blog, is because this gets a lot of readers and a lot of pickup.
Yeah, and KubeCon is happening in 1 month, so Kubernetes 1.10 is going to be one of the major topics to discuss.
Yeah, it sounds like
this blog post will be the best documenting of the job that has been done around release. So please don't underestimate it.
Okay, great, everybody. Thank you for that. And Natasha, Caitlin, thank you so much for continuing your hard work there. That's a very large job. Nick, do you want to hit release notes?
Sure. We are proceeding well. We have been weeding this down quite steadily. We've gone from 90-some pages to 70-some pages, and we expect to have this pretty much edited down by Wednesday. Noah's going to do one last poll on any PRs that didn't get into the last one, and then we'll just track the last 3 manually. So we're doing pretty well. The known issues section will still need to be written, and obviously the TLDR. But we're proceeding nicely. Everything is green. That's it.
All right, great. That is fantastic work. Okie doke. We are at the end of our meeting. And again, thanks everybody. We ran a little over. Is there anything anybody wants to hit before we adjourn? Okay, great everybody. Thank you so much. And look for Code Freeze and our release candidate today, our end of Code Freeze and release candidate today. So I'll be in touch on the Slack channel. Bye everybody.